Awesome. We're recording. So, hi, anyone who's watching or listening. I'm really excited because I've got Simon Phillips here um, for you guys and myself as well. Now, Simon, I met, I don't know, 18 months ago, 2 years ago,
Was it
something
two
like,
years?
something
Oh my
ridiculous.
God, that's
Yeah.
great.
Um, yeah, we somehow crossed paths randomly as the
In a
universe
Facebook
makes.
group, I think.
Something like that. I don't know. That's how I meet people generally, is just
Same.
randomly in Facebook groups.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a quick conversation and I was like, man, who is this guy? Like, I got to hear a bit of Simon's story, and then I've just been quietly watching in the background ever since, and it's been quite the show, I have to say. So why don't we just dive right into it? So Simon, you're founder of Fitwear, co-founder Supply Chain Solutions, right?
Global, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Global supply chain
Supply Chain
solutions.
Solutions has been around for 20 years, and I had absolutely nothing to do with the amazing journey to build that. I came in very late and helped launch the global piece. So be very
Yeah.
clear about my. I don't want to take credit for that amazing piece of work.
Well, this is why
Yeah.
I'm so curious about, how you operate and how you've kind of managed to get your fingers in all these
Bye.
pies. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
and for so many of us as well, like, we come from that background, or we're creative in how we think. And so more often than not, we've got multiple projects on the go, and um, have a very busy brain,
yeah.
so I think everybody will be inspired to kind of hear your journey.
Definitely a
um,
busy brain. Well, I mean, yeah, and thank you for having me on. I really appreciate the opportunity to have a chat. I love chatting about myself. I
Awesome.
think don't know, most people do, right? Do they? I don't know. Anyway,
Sometimes.
um, so I mean, I'm not sure exactly how you want to take the conversation, but if you want, I can sort of frame it up for people. Usually, I have a sort of pretty standard story that I tell that takes you from the start to where we are today. And then maybe you could, if you feel like you want to stop me and pull out any interesting pieces from there, you could do that.
Yeah. Yep, we could do that. I was going to do that anyway. Pretty
Oh,
much my next question was like, let's rewind,
okay.
and start there. And then I have got some questions from, our crew, and yeah, but we'll see where it goes.
Awesome. 100%. Well, sorry for being a control freak.
Go
Um,
for it.
classic me. Hey, should we do this? Yeah, I was about to ask you that. So yeah, I grew up in Palmerston North, little town, in New Zealand, not that little, little enough. And I was always, and I suppose I was always a little bit different. I didn't really do that well at school. I didn't really fit in perfectly or whatever. And then I found a guy online when I was like 17 called Ziz, and basically what he'd done is I had gone out and got into the gym and some of the extracurricular supplements that allow you to be massive. And he'd turned himself from a bit of a nerdy loser into this cool guy online. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do that. So I did that and had this alter ego NZ Shredder, which was sort of like my bodybuilding persona. And then off the back of that, I got some confidence. I was living my life in a pretty toxic way, to be perfectly honest. I was kind of this young kid that had like wanted to be cool and wanted a beautiful girlfriend and wanted all of this external stuff. And then so I went out and got it, and I got the notoriety and the respect and money and a little bit of like C grade fame and women, etc. And then I built this business Fitwear off the back of my following. Did really well with that. Sold half of it, got like $1 million. I was just 23, but again, just external, um, external things overlaid on a internally agitated soul. Just it was a road to nowhere. So once I'd gotten that money, it was kind of like, okay, right, I have everything now. And I feel the exact same way, anxious, depressed, oscillating between achievement and just not wanting to get out of bed and benders. And I basically spent the next 2 or 3 years of my life in a self-sabotaging spiral. Lots of people tried to sort of help or this and that, but you couldn't really tell me anything. And I didn't have necessarily the mentor that I was accountable to step in and go, hold on, you're actually fucking this whole thing up. Am I allowed to swear on this? Or is this?
Yes, yeah, 100%. That's why we're interviewing you.
Okay, brilliant.
Sort of tattoos,
You're
colorful pasts, creative
yeah,
minds. Yeah, you're perfect.
yeah, brilliant. Thank you. So, yeah, you're fucking this whole thing up, man. And so I at the end of 2017, it was sort of the culmination of that. I had sold the other half of Fitwear for, I don't know, I think about like 150 grand, and it was enough to pay off some of the debt. I got kicked out of my house. I had a catastrophic thing happen to me, which I'm not really ready to share yet, but I probably will one day. And so I'd gone from being this highfalutin, young, very successful, from the outside looking in, perfect young man, to living at home with $170,000 mortgage on my parents' house, completely fucked. And I was like, I had a basically, I don't know if you'd call it a mental breakdown, but I had a moment. When I was moving out of the house, and I tell the story and I get into the detail of the story because this was the breakthrough, pivotal, do or die moment for me, and it's very visceral. And I what I would love is for people that have a higher potential, everyone has a higher potential, to be able to make that pivotal change without having to actually get to the rock bottom point. That would be an optimal scenario, right? But I think as biological systems are evolved to survive, not thrive necessarily. So we kind of just like do the minimum to get by. That's what I've found. It's very hard to push yourself. Anyway, I was painting this house. We'd trash the house. We always used to trash every house we lived in, just dickheads. And I'd move out and they'd be like, send me the bill, like the bond would all be gone. And I'd be like, send me whatever was left over. And then in this particular house, I had no money. So I had to stay there, and I was like doing gym plastering and painting the walls. And I told the landlord I was moving out a week earlier so I could get a week's rent and moved all my stuff out. And I was living on a beanbag. So I was basically squatting in this house. And I had this moment. I'd gone out to get KFC. I was listening to a Sam Evans podcast. I just remember all the details of this little afternoon. And I had the paint roller. Something happened. I had the paint roller. I dropped it into the paint bucket thing, and it splashed everywhere. And it was paint all over me. It was paint all over the floor. And it was just like the straw that broke the camel's back. And I sat back on this beanbag. And I was just like, you are a fucking loser. Like how in God's name did we arrive here? Like what? And then I went, nah, you're better than this. Your potential is far higher. I was very, very lucky because I got the most amazing family. My mum and dad are just salt of the earth, kindest people. And so I was able to just move home and live rent free, and they pay for my food and blah, blah, blah. I had like 30 grand worth of credit cards left over from my other business. And I just went, I'm going to build a business that pays back my parents, or I'm going to die trying. And I just quit life. So I didn't have sex for like 18 months. I no drugs, no alcohol, went to one wedding in 2 years. Just nothing. It was, I made it binary. Like my life begins, I'm able to enjoy my life and do all the things I want to do, like party and see girls and do all the cool stuff that young dudes do once I've completed that objective. And so that allowed, I don't know, I guess that allowed space, because it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to try and enjoy my life while I build this thing. It's like my life begins once I've achieved the goal. And so that allowed just complete, utter focus. And I had no money. So I started an agency instead of an e-com brand. So I started scaling another couple of e-com brands. I got into cryptocurrency back in the day, made like 200 grand trading cryptocurrency, then got into some crazy risky altcoin and lost it all. And so ended up backwards like another 20K or whatever that I'd put on credit cards. Just like, just doing stupid manic stuff. And then I got my big break. So coming out of that whole experience, so now I'm sort of 26, almost, yeah, I'm 26. And I knew I needed to be sober and I needed to get a mentor. Those were the two like big lessons from the whole thing was like, just find someone that's where you want to be and then listen to them, because you're incapable of doing it for yourself. You're not a number one yet. You're a number two or a number three. You got some great ideas, but ideas like assholes, everyone's got one. And it's more about execution. So meet Brad Lindsay of Supply Chain Solutions. He sees a lot of potential in me. I put a couple of clients with him. We start kind of working together, and then I basically sold/gave him half of SJP Media. Together we co-founded Glass Elephant, and then the idea became, let's build what would have saved me. So we now have Supply Chain Solutions, which is a Supply Chain Solutions is an amazing business. And so Brad Lindsay is similar to me in the ways he's maybe more, I'm a creative, but I'm also like an engineer in a lot of ways, like a tinkerer. It's like, just make it better, make it better, make it better. Everyone else is looking at going, it's perfect. I'm going, that's shit. How do we make it better? How do we make it better? And so like, that's like, as a kid, I just always played with Legos or played like real-time strategy games. I hated handwriting. And that's why I was always in trouble, because like all the stuff we were doing was boring. I was like, why are we doing this stuff? This is boring. So then Brad built this business, Supply Chain Solutions, which does freight forwarding. They've got a last mile delivery freight brokering service. They do accounts receivable, debtors management, demand planning, ERP implementations, pick, pack, warehousing, everything in the back end of a business. And then I'd built this thing like SJP Media, Glass Elephant, where we'd like consult and build your website, do your content, do your ads. So I was kind of, because I hated working with partners and then someone would let me down. Brad was the same way. And so then we brought these two worlds together, and it was like, hold on a minute, you look after the back end, I'll look after the front end, promise to deliver on promise. Holy shit, we'll build what would have saved me. And then so we start along that journey, and then clients never, ever, ever create the content that they are supposed to create on time, ever, do they? Like you know how hard it is to create content for yourself for whatever reason, put ourselves out there. It's energy, it's scary, it's all of the things. So the big gap was creative. So then we acquired Collab, which is a creative agency. And they also do like organic, social, and PR. And so then you put Glass Elephant, Collab, Supply Chain Solutions Global together, and together we call ourselves the Magnitude Group. And we've got warehouses here in New Zealand, in Utah, and Amsterdam. We're opening Canada and Japan at the moment, and then UK, Taiwan, Australia after that. And the idea being that we have a global logistics network that underpins this really powerful performance marketing offer. We mostly work with Shopify stores, had a couple of big wins, like taking a couple of brands from sort of, a couple of $1 million to tens of millions of dollars. And we've done that in profit share scenarios. Gone from like would have been about 5 team members when we met 18 months ago, 5, 6.
Yeah.
We've got 85 in Glass.
It's ridiculous. It's crazy.
And about 400 in Supply Chain Solutions. And we're working with some celebrities in LA, and it's all just like, it's all starting to come together. And that big organizing idea at the core of it all, I guess, between Brad and I was like, well, for Supply Chain Solutions has a lot of its own stuff, and so does the Magnitude Group. But specifically, like what I've been driving is, I want to build what would have saved me. So I could go and have a chat with 23-year-old Simo and go, look, man, you're cool. You got a good heart, but you're actually a bit of a fucking dumbass. You're doing all this stuff wrong. Give me half. I'll run it. You hang out with the community, make sure the product's cool. We'll run the systems, and we'll run the marketing, and we'll run the operations, and together we'll build a $30 million brand, and we'll have it. How's that sound? And knowing me, I probably would have said no, because I was so dopey, but I wanted to be able to be in a position to do that for other Shopify store owners. And as a business owner yourself, it's like, really, if you own a brand, you focus on the brand, you focus on the product, you focus on the community. And so we wanted to create a platform that all of that could exist on. And so that's where we are today. Sorry, that was a long story.
No. I'm actually annoyed with my. There we go.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Yeah, I've got my head like perfectly positioned on this this light.
We don't have to be perfect. Right. No, it wasn't long at all. It was, and I know it's so interesting, the similarities that we have, and you probably don't know as many of them as I do, because I'm like sneaking around in the background following you and like, who is this freak and how does he do what he does? uh,
Yeah.
um, but even that word magnitude, is a I have a course that I run called A Man of Magnitude, so that sort of that
Yeah.
word comes up in so many things. But the thing that I'm obsessed about is, and the thing that would have saved me, or not saved me, but saved me a ton of time and heartache and relationship drama and everything, is, how can we create a pathway to success for somebody, meeting them wherever they find themselves, because I know, and how easy it is to suddenly find yourself without a ton of cash, or resources. There's always resources that you always have. There are other ways of finding value,
Mm.
but it feels like my journey was so difficult, even just to get to this point, that it is again about sort of creating those pathways. And like you as well, I'm very creative, but I freaking love the little tinkering of the
Yeah.
bits and pieces in the business model.
Yeah.
So I'm at a place now. I'm like, oh, I think it's built. I'm gonna press the green button.
Oh, dude, and you should have pressed the green button 18 months
Oh,
ago
we
and then
have.
built it based on feedback.
Oh, we have. I've pressed that green button many
Thank God. Yeah.
times. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Same
yeah.
thing. I just overbuild. Oh, it's not ready. It's not ready. It's not ready. It's not good enough. It's better than everything that's in the market. I'm still building it, like, yeah,
Yep. Yeah.
that's a funny thing, that one.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I've pressed it, and then like a piece, someone's gone AWOL or whatever. So that I've pressed that green button many times, but we're sort of poised to press it again with the new stuff that's built on the stuff that didn't work last time.
Mhm.
So we'll see what happens there. So what do you think? I've got some specific questions to ask you, but
You can ask me
I know
whatever.
I can. I am feeling an internal conflict, because normally for these interviews I just like press play and see what happens, and I've been given a certain structure because the people behind my brand are like, Helen, I want to do a ton of interviews because I love interviews and meeting people like you and stuff like that. And they're like, okay, well, if we ask these questions here, we can sort of repurpose this stuff into some cool branding stuff. and
Why don't we
and
let the conversation go where it goes and then finish off with those at the end in a quick fire?
all right, okay, so,
Or
and
the other way around. We could quick fire them and then just chat after.
let's go. Yeah, let's quick fire these, because
Okay.
that's
Good.
the
Yeah.
easiest course of action for
Yeah.
me right now. Okay, so you answered many of the questions already, and yeah, I mean, I saw some pictures of you sleeping in your office
Yeah. Yeah.
at one point. Um, can you touch on doing stuff that other people aren't prepared to
Yeah.
do?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, um, I've, and if I go back a layer deeper, because I think like, why was I prepared to do stuff that other people weren't prepared to do, is like, I've always had this vision of my life and the way I want it to play out with my beautiful ultimate partner in this beautiful home and da da da. And a lot of my value, I think, like I was always a no one, and then I had a lot, or I didn't have a lot, but I had a significant amount of money relative to where I was living, etc. And so then that became a lot of my self-worth.
Mm.
And then so for me, like building a business or building financial freedom for myself, for my family, uh, was like step number one. It's like, it's just it's as important as breathing. Like I couldn't live a life without that. So rightly or wrongly, that was like the goal or the why. And so there's some self-worth stuff there. There's some just, I feel like it's probably the best thing to do is to create freedom for yourself. So I guess that's why I was willing to do probably what most people aren't. Yeah, so yeah, my whole life it's been like that. Throughout the footwear times, I didn't know how to manage my mental health as well then, and so I'd oscillate between like sort of dark depressions and then manic workload, etc. But it was always like work first. And I would, my girlfriend would be like, come watch a movie with me. I'm like, no, I'm working. No, I'm working. No, I'm working. So there's just general sacrifice there. And then once I left, when I was rebuilding SJP Media, I needed to be in Auckland all the time. But I took 60,000, I took $5,000 a month out of the business. I got that all, I didn't have to pay tax on it because I had like $1 million tax loss in my company. So that was cool. So I had $5,000 a month, but I had 100K with a credit card. So that was about 2,200 in interest. I had lawyers' bills, accountant bills, just like all of this leftover debt. And so by the time all was said and done, I had about $800 to $1,000 a month to live on. And so I couldn't afford rent and stuff. So I used to sleep at a friend of mine, Jacob, was living with one of his friends, Nikki, and then she let me stay on her couch. So we'd kind of like sleep on the couch together. But then sometimes that was on North Shore. I didn't have the money for an Uber to get out there all the time. So I would just sleep under the desk at Supply Chain Solutions. I had my little like duvet, I had my little blanket. And like realistically, I don't know, for me, I haven't ever really cared. Like I'll sleep on the couch or the floor. It's not that different.
No,
Really,
it's not.
is
See,
it? It's
I'm
like,
not surprised because I'm just like you. Like I can sleep on the floor. I am so insanely focused that nothing else matters sometimes. And I think the value is, and I wanted you to say that because I know there's a lot of people in our audience who are like that as well, and they're gonna. Part of me is like, oh man, I wish I had the freedom to be able to just do that without bumping up against family or spouse or all these other sort of things and responsibilities.
yeah,
That
that's actually that's a really important piece of the puzzle as well. Is like I came out single, no dependents, good family, no one to look after. Mum and dad never put a bit of pressure on me to pay the loan back faster. They let me do it in my own time. And so I was just able to be single-minded, utterly focused. And yeah, you just do what it took. And yeah, sleep on the ground, eat some shit food, skip a couple of days of food. I got, at the time I was, I didn't have the best complexion. I was skinny. I'd kind of, you have to make X amount of sacrifice to achieve something outside the norm. Otherwise, everyone would have it.
I believe that as well. And there's a school of thought around manifestation, which I believe in as well, and the magic happens, but I just don't see a ton of incredible stuff happening unless someone has worked incredibly hard, at least for a phase.
So my view on that, and it's maybe a little bit different, is the visualization manifestation element allows the potential that drives the ability to work really hard. So if you don't visualize or believe or see the future potential, then you don't take the action, because why would you bother? So the more I've started to believe that, oh, I'm actually going to make it, this business is actually going to work, the harder I'm working. And so I think I believe less in the mystical element of the universe providing us this juicy shit. I think it's more of a closed logical loop of, oh, subconscious going, oh, that's real, I can achieve that, might as well take the action necessary to bring it into fruition.
Yeah.
I think it's more of a logical process of your subconscious going risk first reward. Yeah, I will get out of bed this morning and do all that hard shit I don't want to do because it's real. Whereas if it's risky, there's less impetus to take the action. So I think it's really, manifestation is just a tool to induce action more than anything else.
Yeah, and it's part of everyone's journey, isn't it, to kind of like figure out where they feel they lie on, how how that stuff works. So
And because there's so much we don't understand. Like if my morning routine, and my best friend Jacob, he looks after me now. He works for SJP Media. He's our COO, and so he'll get me up in the morning. We don't do it every day. We fail often, but we do our best. gets me up in the morning. We have all of our vitamin minerals. We'll do like a liter of water. We'll do a breath work. We'll do visualization session. We'll do a stretching session, and then we'll do some boxing rounds. And then we'll train in the evening. We make sure to eat well. And so all of that process is all a part of like keeping like the biological system on point, and then trying to like find some calm and some peaceful periods to imprint that future that I know I'm going to achieve, and remind my cynical lizard brain that no, we are going there. It is happening. We are going to do it. And you need to figure out a way to get into flow state today, because we need to do that high priority task.
Yep.
And I know you don't want to do it because you're scared of it, because it might be XYZ. But yeah, I just feel like my game has been about being able to better control my subconscious and the way it drives my fluctuating daily willpower, fluctuating daily motivation. And the more I've been able to go, no, that end goal is real. He's done it. He's done it. You've done it before. Just stay the course.
Yep. Can you talk more about just how important that is? Because I know how important that is, and everything that I've built around my Ara coach has been built around, yes, there are strategies and there is some basic stuff that people understand that is somewhat nuanced around value and scale and leverage. And I feel I've got credibility to prove yet on my understanding of all of that, once we get the business to a certain stage. But what I have authority for miles around, I have absolutely no wobbles whatsoever, is the importance of mindset and the importance of being able to shift our subconscious patterns. And not only that, how our biology and inputs are tied into that. So one of our coaches, AJ, his realm is biohacking and biology, and he sort of moves into meditation, and I'm in mindset, and I'm like, just get your biology right first, and it's going to help a ton. And he's like, get your mindset right first. So give us your perspective on that side of things.
Yeah, I have like an articulated methodology. So my view is physical performance, mental clarity, emotional stability. Those are the three resources that if you can control in a really powerful fashion, you'll be able to achieve financial freedom. And then you put those four things together and you have a shot at spiritual fulfillment, which is the ultimate goal. And so I believe it's in that order as well. Get the biological system right first.
AJ.
Sorry, AJ. Get the flesh vehicle working, because without it, you're eating fucking KFC and you're not going for a walk and you're unfit and your heart rate's high and you're not sleeping and good luck. And then you're having a fight with your missus and whatever else. Good luck mindsetting your way through that.
100%.
It's like, it's not a thing in my view. I'm technically type 2 bipolar and ADHD. So I'm supposed to take like 50 mgs of Ritalin a day and lamotrigine and some other mood stabilizer thing that turns me into a zombie and takes away all of my brilliance and value. So I don't do them because fuck that. But I struggled my whole life and I did, and they gave me medication. But now with a quality diet and enough water and some mentors to keep me accountable and get me through the rough spots so I can just get started and exercise every day, I've got the tools to control myself when all I want to do is like not look at that phone call because I know it's going to be niggly and it's anxious, and it's like all of that angst and that pain that we feel daily, I can now go like step, phone, open, swipe, look. I don't even read. I'll look, I'll read it, call, hi, and then you're
in it.
But I don't, and you're in it because it's not doing it that's hard, it's starting it that's hard.
Yep.
That because then you get your neuroephedrine and your dopamine. I'm not an expert on the biohacking stuff, but I've got like a bit of a top level understanding. So yeah, I think it's physical performance first, and then it's mental clarity. Get the mind right. Start thinking clearly, and then with a physically powerful body and a clear mind, you are able to achieve emotional stability. No, I'm not going to engage in this argument. I'm going to cut that person out of my life. I'm going to stop and breathe before I react here and then create some problems that exacerbate over the next 2 weeks. And then that person, someone who's physically strong, mentally clear, and emotionally stable, and well, basically anywhere in the world. But if you're in New Zealand, or in a first world country, and you have those three attributes and the internet, if you can't create financial freedom, go back to fucking square one, start again, because one of those things is broken.
100%.
Just go find a mentor and just message a whole lot of people that are doing what you want to do and go, hey, I'll work for you free. I'll do anything you want. I just want to hang around you and learn from you, please.
Yep.
And then once you got financial freedom, now no one can tell you where to be or what the fuck to do. And so you're free to surf or to build wells or to go to Vegas and do heaps of blow. I don't know where you're going to find your spiritual fulfillment. That's completely up to you. And I recommend not going to Vegas because you probably won't find it there. But that's kind of that's the way I see the process of living your life.
Yeah. And do you find some spiritual fulfillment? So my as you're saying this, I 100% agree with all of those things. And someone is messaging me in Facebook. Sorry.
It's good.
Right. I think each of those things can be attacked on their own, and each of those are going to have an overlap on the others. But I absolutely, think your biology is just one of the easiest things just to start with, But let's
want to go for a walk. Eat some spinach.
Exactly. Try it for a week and see how your mindset goes. I challenge you, drink enough water. Talking about fear, and anyone who's listening here about fear, you're listening to Simon, and he's talking about himself experiencing fear daily. I was scared of asking you for this interview.
My thing.
I am enough. Feel the fear and do it anyway. And I have that book up there.
Yeah, I didn't know that was a book. I thought I'd come up with this dope saying. I was like, yeah, nailed it. My sister's like, that's a book, man.
Oh, you're not original.
I was like, oh, great minds think alike. Someone already got in early with that one, but yeah.
And so just demonstrating, hey, I was like, who am I to reach out to Simon Phillips, for this interview? And I'm like,
and I'm sitting here desperate to tell my story. I want exposure. I love this. I love the opportunity to yarn. Like anyone could message me to do this chat, and I would have this chat with anyone.
Absolutely. So
it's
you don't know until you go, and
what's the worst that could happen? No.
Well, that's it, and as entrepreneurs, I was having this conversation with someone the other day, you start getting addicted to the feedback, like I do anyway. I'm like, oh, this is scary. And I got to do it because I know I was talking to Kofi in the last interview, and it's this feeling that I have, and I don't know if you have the same feeling. It's kind of like the growth feeling. It's like, oh, there's this thing I want to do, and it really fulfills and excites me, and holy shit, it's fucking scary. And when I feel those two, and it's like, I don't know if when you're a kid, like you drink orange juice and milk at the same time. You might not have done that. I've done that. It doesn't feel good.
I'm going to try it. Yeah, I haven't done that.
And it's just this feeling of like, you feel sick but excited at the same time. And when I feel that, I'm just like, oh, there's a thing I got to go and do. And if I don't do it, I'm going to think less of myself because of it.
Yeah, that's a big one, man. Like it's all there's some, I don't know if it's a cliche or if it's real, but there's only two emotions, love and fear, and then everything else is just like variables of the same thing. There's something along those lines, but for me, the majority of my anxiety in my entire life comes from not doing the high priority things that I need to do at work and letting them build up. And then I never have enough time to do anything. But if I actually just sat down for 3 to 4 hours, cut out the fluff and the bullshit, and just sat down for 3 to 4 hours a day and did like the really important stuff, I could get it all done. I'd have no fear, no anxiety, but instead I procrastinate it. Mm-hmm. I let it build up. Then I can't go anywhere because I'm going to do that work, but then I don't. And it's the dragon. It's the fable of the dragon under the bed, right? Mom, there's a dragon under my bed. No, there's not. Don't worry about it. And it's a baby. You could have gotten rid of it. And then by the time you actually look under the bed, it's a fucking full-grown dragon. It's burning the house down. So, like, for me, it's you know, a attractive woman that I like. As soon as I'm kind of like into someone, I'm like, I just don't know what to do. I just turn back into this fucking kid. And I just struggle, and I fear, like, walking up to someone, asking for their number, picking up the phone and giving a client bad news, just starting a big project that I know is difficult. I just get this, literally, I feel it, and it's like it washes over. And then what I'm trying to do at the moment is just try to win more of those battles, not all of them, because the more you win, the more that becomes the pathway, rather than the, you know, and it's just that fucking that give up moment of like, nah, I'll just watch another YouTube video, or I'll tell myself, I'll do shit like, actually, you know what? I'll grab my computer, I'll lie down, I'll watch one YouTube video, and then I'll start. But it's a lie. Every time I do that, I'll be asleep and I won't do the thing. And there's another day gone. And then it's like, oh, and then there's more anxiety. Whereas when I have my good days, and that's part of what Jacob helps me with, is my high priority task. And this is a winner for anyone, because buddy system has saved my life, basically.
Thank you. You're just telling our clients everything that I've built into my Aura coach. You're just like touching it. It's like bam, bam, bam. So guys, listen to Simon. Okay, don't take my word for it.
Yeah, it's buddy system, man. We have this app that we do our rounds with. I want to do an MMA fight, right? And if I don't have my hands up when we're boxing, I get slapped in the head with a pad, and that's not nice. And so we'll sit down and it's like, let's work on the HPT. Oh, you're not doing it. Why? Oh, and I'll start telling jokes and fucking walking around the office and it's like, no, we're going to do rounds. So we'll literally put on the rounds timer, and I'll do like 5-minute rounds of work, because once I do 5 minutes, I'll do 8 hours. It's not doing it that's hard. It's starting it that's hard.
Yeah.
And so that little mechanism of like turning it into, I'm about to have a 5-minute fight with this performance marketing system 2.0 report. And if I don't keep my hands up, I'm going to get punched in the head, and I've got someone just watching, like, doing it. That's just how I break through the, that wall of anxiety that would previously keep me procrastinating and making my life harder.
Yeah.
And then when I don't have that, when I've done all the things I actually need to do and I'm up to date, I can go to the beach and I can hang out with friends. I'm more productive, I'm more creative, I think more clearly, everything's better. And so I'm talking a lot here, but this is the biggest thing for me. If I'd figured it out earlier, I'd be retired, probably with a family, like living my best life already. But that anxiety, that anxious fear, it builds up the most around the most important thing I need to do.
Yeah, exactly. That's it.
And so I'll do all this fluffy, busy shit.
Yep.
And then I won't do the one thing that's the 20% that will actually deliver the result. And that's where it comes back to mindset. And so if I just did these 4 things, but I'm scared, because if I don't do it, or if I do it and it doesn't work, well, then I suck. And like this whole business is fucked and I might have to start again. Oh my God, imagine how hard that'd be. And if I do it and it works, well, then I'm going to get all that money. I'm going to have to travel the world, and I'm going to stop having this excuse. I've been single for 4 years. I haven't seen anyone. I wanted to rebuild myself. I want to, like, the next relationship I have, I want it to be like the only one I have. And so I've got all these excuses as to why I've completely taken myself out of that romantic realm, which is really scary. But once I sort the business, I get all this money and I'm free again, I can do that. Well, that's scary. So it's almost like this, that anxiety and fear is, and these are just my anecdotal sort of feelings about it. I don't know how a neuroscientist would probably rip this to shreds, but you know, we've evolved to survive rather than thrive. I said that before. So this anxiety kind of keeps you in step, you know. Simo's like struggling entrepreneur that's got enough money to like live and look after his family, but not completely break through and make it. And I've seemed to exist there and just oscillate. And as soon as I'm there, then the motivation lapses. And I get back down to here and it becomes, it's battle stations. And then I'll do like 3 months of hard work and just blow it up again. And so that's been my story. But this time around with mentors and the work I'm doing and the buddy system and the various strategies, I'm able to combat that natural inclination to stay safe where I know in my comfort zone
Mm-hmm.
and actually break through. And so
Yep.
that's kind of what we're experiencing at the
Yeah.
moment, I
Yeah.
suppose.
Yeah. And it's so inspiring, especially for those of us who are working hard and doing all the right stuff, and we've got more complexity to deal with, I think. And but to see someone do it, to actually create that thing, and as you say, sort of mentorship is so important. So in the let's just get totally transparent here for people who are listening and have stuff that they're frightened of, right? One of the things that I want to do, I want to create this kind of adventure networking thing, where entrepreneurs, I get a bunch of entrepreneurs together and we like go on some kind of horse trek or some sort of stupid adventure, just go on and do stuff. That's going to require me to approach people who are operating at a much higher level than me. It's still sitting there. I still haven't made those approaches. But now that I've said it, you know,
Yeah, you
there's
gotta
even,
do it.
I totally got to do it. Like, I know I have to do
It's
it.
the Sunday Arvo, right? It's like, here's 5 activities. Here's the 3 places we could do the activities, and here's the 100 people I want to go. And then you just send the messages.
I know it's we one of the things we've started doing in our free group is offering free subconscious reprogramming sessions monthly to people. We kind of tap on the shoulder and say, hey, we think you're cool, come and do this thing. And so I actually took that subject for the one we did last week, and now it's like, and then I thought, I've done so much work, inner work. I'm generally feeling pretty clear. My mindset is generally like that, like a nice peaceful ocean with some colorful drama at times.
I wouldn't
And
be
this
life
thing,
without it.
sorry,
I wouldn't be life without it.
no, and who would want, like, that's the juice, it's part of what makes us human, and having this wonderful sort of emotional landscape. But this thing popped up from, must have been deep down. It was like, it was like a real fear of rejection, and it was, and but I was able to clear that. And so, I still have that natural anxiety, and I think that's fine to have because you're doing things you've never done before. But yeah, it was enough to sort of say, okay, well, Helen, you're just being a silly sausage, just go and do it. The worst that's going to happen is they're going to say no. And, it has got absolutely no effect on my identity, or, who cares what people think about me or anything like that. So,
Yeah, and I mean, it's interesting, right? Because it's who cares what people think about me now, and we can actually get away with that. But we've lived this existence for 50-ish years, and then the 100 years before that, it was a certain way. And then the sort of couple of 100 years before that, you go back to like the 1600s, it was a certain way. And then previous to that, it was a certain way for 1500 years. And then previous to that, it was a certain way for like 10,000 years. And like the whole who gives a fuck what people think about me thing, that really mattered. Because if like the other 12 people in your tribe didn't like you, you're done. Like, so that biologic, that is baked into you. And again, like, yeah, we weren't built to thrive, to not care what people think and get out there and try shit. That would have killed our ancestors. I have like this analogy, like the people that were, all those people that went out exploring and looking for more, and like coconut trees with more coconuts and orchards with more apples, and most of them died. And the people that like just stuck together and were like really conservative and chill, those are the ones that ended up surviving. And I feel like maybe that's a lot of what runs through us and tries to keep us really safe. But we live in this wonderful world now, and people have a lot to say about how bad the world is and it's falling apart, and Trump this and it's not perfect, obviously, but it's on balance, based on the metrics, better than it's ever been by a ridiculous amount of percent. So I think
let's,
we're blessed to exist today.
on the subject of hope, then, how
Mm.
important is hope
Um,
to you?
Hope to me, what do I hope for? I don't know if I do a lot of hoping. I do hope that things will work out. but I don't really pay a lot of attention to it. Bit of a control freak. So like I know what I want, and so I've just worked to get it. So I guess, and then like hope, and then in a grander sense, hope for humanity. I hope that Elon figures something out, because without some sort of technological advancement, you know, I think this existence has got a real time limit on it. There's you know, we've gone too far, and the trains, you know, going down the railway tracks, it's going too quickly to stop. If you stop the train now, X amount of 100 million people die. No one's willing to make that decision. If you don't stop the train, we'll just it implodes and everyone dies. But it's an impossible decision. So yeah, I hope that someone a lot smarter than I and probably most of us figures out something that can take us to the next level. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't spend a lot of time hoping. I wouldn't call it hope. I spend a lot of time visualizing where I will be. So it's this, because hope implies a chance of
It does, and
failure.
it's kind of like
And
this, like a hope.
yeah,
It's a losing belief.
I hope it'll work. I don't, yeah, hope's not as powerful as belief, right?
But I think it comes first. I think it's like a little spark of hope. You're like, oh, that's a possibility, and then you flesh
yeah,
out that possibility.
yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think, isn't hope just belief with a fucking sprinkle of doubt?
I don't know. Like
I don't know.
when I
Maybe we were just arguing semantics, but I mean, for me, my subconscious probably does enough hoping and doubting and stuff. I try to. Yeah, it's an interesting question. I didn't know how to answer it. Like in terms of hope, like I hope things will work out, but then I don't really spend a lot of time actively there. Like I spend time going, this, at least telling myself this will be, like, I will have this, I'm actually gonna make it, this
yeah
is gonna work, I am gonna do this for my family. I'm banging my table, so it's
yeah no that's all right.
so it's more, yeah, I spend a lot more time believing than I do, or trying to believe than I do hoping, I guess.
Yeah, and I don't think it's a space you want to just be in all the time. But I'm fascinated at that, like, the little spark, that inception of there's something more for me, and it happens inside somebody, and I'm really fascinated about what, again, that sort of that tinkering, how it all sort of connects to each other. So
Interesting, like hope, the definition, a feeling of expectation and desire for a particular thing to happen, and then the archaic version was a feeling of trust and then wanting something to be the case. So yeah, hope. Yeah, I get where you're coming from. But I think, yeah, I don't know.
because sometimes I'm just thinking, because I've spoken to a couple of clients, and one in particular I'm thinking, and everything just seems absolutely impossible to her at the moment. Everything around her is like that train coming at her. And
Mm.
you just have to hope. Like, it's like sometimes it's like that there will be another way, that there will be a way through that, and it will present itself if you just be open to allow your heart to kind of just be open to hope, at least, because you can always have hope. even if
Even if there's no room for belief, because your entire environment is telling you
tells you otherwise.
you are fucked, mate.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I don't know. There's that glimmer of hope, which is something to hold on to. Yeah, I can see. I'm trying to think back to when I was sort of in this catastrophic scenario.
Yeah.
But it still wasn't
Hope.
really hope. But then my catastrophic scenario ended me living at home with my mum helping me do my washing and making me dinner every night. So I can't speak to true abject fear and like crushing circumstances, because I've always been lucky enough to be supported. So I can't, I wouldn't be here without all of the Simo thing is a culmination of many people and a little bit of me. It's just the tip of the spear. So it was different for me back in that time. It was, I've got 170K mortgage on my parents' house. I'm paying that back. And, I had thoughts of just fucking checking out, giving up. Oh, well, get off. But I was like, I'm not going to do that to my family. And so it wasn't like, I hope I'm going to do this. It was, I will do this. And it might take me 1 year, 2 years, or 20 years, but this is happening.
Yep.
And then I just fucking did it. And so it was like, well, you might as well do it as fast as possible because it's happening. So that it wasn't hope. It was belief. It was expectation of outcome.
I look back to my pivotal moment as well. It actually happened right here on the floor with a massive pile of laundry, and the kids were like, and it was like, suddenly my whole life stretched out in front of me as a housewife. And I was like, oh shit, that's not what I choose, and it happened in a flash, and it was a complete 180, from that moment. So, decisions, I don't know. I don't think you can fabricate decisions like that. People talk a lot about decisions, but sometimes they come out of that in somewhere deep down, and you just kind of decide that it's going to be a certain
way. Mine definitely was forced upon me in a lot of ways. I'm pretty grateful for the way things played out, because I was on a path to being a very conceited, fake, nice person. I was just a hurt kid trying to fucking make his way in the world. And so, those decisions were, I think you can potentially advance the decision. So I've worked a lot with psychedelics. I did a 10-day ayahuasca retreat. I've worked a lot with psilocybin to become more open, remove a lot of the power that my ego has over me. I'll watch and feel myself react to a certain scenario, and I'm like, all of that's irrelevant and does not serve me. And sometimes it'll take a minute, sometimes it'll take hours, sometimes it'll take days. I still have times where I let it win and then don't apologize. But the ratio is getting better. And so I think the use of psychedelics and mentors has allowed me to construct decisions about a better life faster. I will be sober again. I will do this morning routine. I will go home and see my mum and dad every 2 weeks because they were there for me, and that makes them happy. And I love it there too, So yeah, you might not have full control, but you can definitely set up your environment and to, help yourself fabricate better decisions, better pivotal decisions faster. Because it's the other thing, right? It's about speed. It's like you're probably going to get there. So like you can get there. So speaking to the woman right now that's just in this catastrophic gloom and doom, it's like, hey, what are you going to do? Like you can make the decision today. You can make it this afternoon, and you can make it a month from now. And you know what? You might make the decision today, and by next Tuesday you fucked again, and you're not doing it. But then just make the next best right move, which is start again.
Yeah.
And that's all you can do. And I think the unfortunate piece of the puzzle was, whilst we all could make it, some of us will and some of us won't. And I think the precious nature of what we're given, it's just so worth it to make that effort, even in the times when it's so hard. It's so hard.
How much satisfaction do you get on that journey yourself? Because like you talk about spiritual fulfillment as this thing that happens later, or once you've ticked off those boxes.
Hey, yeah.
But for me, and this is what I try and do with clients, is just find out what is that thing, what is that path, what's that that draws them forwards, that when they're on that, because it depends what you call spirituality, but for me it's just utter self-expression. Like my dog being a dog, is that she's just being that spiritual. My cat is being a cat. When I can be me, that's just me. That's
Yeah.
me,
So,
spirituality.
um, self-actualization. So for me, I for whatever, maybe it's because I'm a bit of an engineer. I have scales. I put scales and metrics on everything. So I talk about happiness is um, like a fleeting thing that you feel good for a time. And then contentment is like when you wake up in the morning and you're just like, oh, I'm going to have breakfast and then I'm going to go about my day. And then fulfillment is like a thing that again is sort of fleeting, and it's not all the time. It's maybe when you get married, or the business thing works, or or your team member that you've mentored gets a promotion or whatever. It's like this, like, yes, like I'm fulfilled, like I've achieved something. And so, and I think a lot of people spend their life nowhere near contentment, maybe experiencing a little bit of fulfillment, but basically just generally unhappy. And then the weekend comes around and alcohol party, have a bit of happiness, over the weekend, or even one lower, like I talk about fun, like you can be having fun but not be happy, and so you have this life that's just unhappiness with bouts of fun. And then you can get into happiness and contentment and fulfillment. And so for me, for whatever reason, that financial freedom piece is, and it may not be critical to my spiritual fulfillment. I probably could have gone another way. I've spent some time in a monastery before. I have, I've done a whole lot of different things. I lived in a strip club in Thailand for 3 months, like when I was 20. That was crazy. And so, but for me, that building the business and getting that freedom of, because I I oscillate between like ups and downs, and sometimes I don't want to do anything. I don't want to see anyone. Like being spiritually fulfilled for me means, and maybe it goes back to school as well, because I hated like do your times tables. And I'm that you can see the ADHD in this story. I'm telling 4 stories at once, but I think it's like do your times tables, finish your times tables, and then I'd sit there and I'd finish and I'd distract everyone. It's like, no, sit there quietly and check your answers. I'm like, well, I know they're right. They're always right. Well then I get sent out, and so I had this thing of like, my child life was basically going to a place that I hated and doing things I didn't like that I found boring. So I was trapped. And so the business and the freedom that comes with that financial piece, I view as a integral part of my ability to be spiritually free, because it's just, man, having a partner, my beautiful, kind, funny, intelligent, and we're like, yeah, we're going to Queenstown, we're going to hang out, and we're going to have fucking watch the Netflix and have some sex and go for a surf. I don't know, whatever. Like, to me, that's what spiritual fulfillment is. Being in a place where if I'm able to be strong at a loved one's strong at a loved one's funeral, or at peace with my own demise, or in a place that I can help others. Like I help a lot of people with a lot of stuff, and I love that. That's cool. So yeah, it's not one thing for me, and it's not like finding it through yoga or through like crystals and ancient medicine. It's just being free and doing what I want when I want, with someone that I love. That's what, long-winded answer again, but I guess that's what spiritual fulfillment is for me. And so that's why, at least in my head, my engineer brain, it goes in that logical order. But I probably could have skipped the whole thing.
We all have our own unique path when we get to design that, don't we? So that's half the fun. So one of the things that we're starting to move into, which I'm really excited about, is I've been working with individuals, and we're getting this tool on board, which is going to allow us to start working with teams around people and culture. Now, this is a completely new area for me. Give me a single person and I'm more than happy to, dive into their performance, especially when it comes to their mental performance and clearing their subconscious stuff. So a bit of customer research here, as someone who is at the helm of a young and growing company, employing a lot of people. What has been the most difficult, or what do you see as one of the most tricky things to manage, or get right when it comes to people and culture in a young, fast-growing company?
Yeah. So one of the first things I said to Brad was, I can't build a team. I need to be able to design a strategy, leave it on a Trello board, walk away from it, and have it delivered. And then Matt, who is our CEO, he was Chief Commercial Officer at NZME, Managing Director of EMI. So he's a very, very high level, godlike people managing CEO. Like, he's the one that runs the business. So I'm Chief Strategy Officer. So I'm technically not at the helm. I'm kind of like under the deck somewhere,
Pulling
like
the strings somewhere.
fucking around. Yeah. Matt's at the helm, and Matt and Brad probably there together. So I'm maybe not the optimal person to answer this question from that perspective, but for
Yep.
me, I built the company as we've gotten bigger. I haven't been able to have the same deep personal connection with every team member that I have. That's what I built. Like, we're a family. And so maintaining that family vibe, and some of the things you say in a family, that's a lawsuit in a major company, right? And so I've been trying to navigate, how do you retain like this heartwarming, connected, thoughtful, loving culture with the performance requirements of a major, fast growing business. And so that's been a real balancing act. And I think part of what I've learned is that in that journey, it's okay to lose a few people. I was kind of like, never leave a man behind. Ever if we one team member, if we don't make it all there together, it's a failure, it's fucked. But it's like, actually, no, there's 85 intersecting life paths here, and we're not going to get it right all the time, and that's okay. But trying to create an environment where there's as much deep emotional, personal connection between not only myself and the team members, but each other, overlaying like KPIs and performance requirements. Like, these are the outputs that are necessary for your role, and we must achieve them. And trying to create a zone of upward mobility. So if you've got a high performers come in, and then they want to hang out for a bit, and then they're like, well, I can do more. And so it's like, well, how can I create a zone in my business in which you're able to achieve all of your goals through our vehicle, so we're able to then make the margin on top of what you're doing. So I think that's the intersecting triangle, I suppose, is upward mobility for high achievers, so that you're able to retain them, a loving, thoughtful, caring family environment, and then a stricter, no nonsense, non-emotional, logical, KPI driven set of performance expectations that then allow you to, and that becomes a triangle, which is, funnily enough, the most powerful thing. Hey, we might have just invented a methodology for running a business.
So it's burned into my brain. I've remembered it.
But yeah, that's the best articulation I could give. But that's not my gambit. I'm not that guy.
Yeah.
I'm just ideas, and like, let's go hard and fast and break some shit along the way.
Yeah. All right. So we'll wrap it up pretty soon. I know we've got a couple of guys in our community who have an ecom brand. They've got a good product. They're ambitious. They have got the mindset down. They're going to do it one way or another. It's going to happen. Let's say they're at a point between, and I'm just guessing here, let's say they're selling like between $500 and $5,000 of product a month. What should they be focusing on? What are their next steps?
Oh, I love that you answered this question. This is asked this question. It's so cool. So, 1 second. What's it called? Mentors. So myself and I don't. Do you know a guy, Jack Butcher, Visualize Value? Have you
Nope,
seen his stuff?
nope, but I'll check it out.
Well, plug for Visualize Value and Jack Butcher, absolutely amazing. We're currently building a course off the back of the methodology that we've used to take brands all the way up to, 40-50 million dollars. And so we've broken it down, and we talk about we've got a few different stages. So we talk about, and funnily enough, it's in orders of magnitude. So if I took you through the stages, you've got product validation at $100 a month. What we want people to do at that level is figure out your big KPIs. So what's your gross margin and what's your ROI on marketing? So and what's the best way to get your first customer? Honestly, we're not even sure if it's go and build a Shopify store, etc. Markets, Facebook groups, TikTok, friends and family, sitting on the street. All you need to do is figure out the GP of the product you're selling, how much it costs you for the trestle table, the cloth, and the petrol to get you to the market. And then you go down there with 5 fucking things and see if you can sell them. If you can't do that, don't worry about a logo or trademarking the world or anything else. Just validate that there's a customer. So figure out your KPIs, figure out your product, figure out your customer. We call that product validation. So that's $100 a month. And then we go up to e-commerce foundations, which is $1,000 a month. There, it's about understanding your metrics. So cost per click, average order value, conversion rate, lifetime value. There's infinite knowledge on the internet about those. Learn everything. Take each one of those metrics and watch 5 hours worth of videos on each one. And then once you've done that, you'll put together that's the fabric of your e-commerce business, and you'll be able to put it together once you've got the understanding of the sub metrics that drive positive outcomes there. Then you need to figure out your brand, your offer, your website, and your organic channels. So at that point, it's about, who am I? What's my conceptual story? Where am I? Where's my website, etc. I'll give you a link as well to a Shopify series that I did of articulating your conceptual brand, setting up your website and an optimized landing page, creating performance content, and then setting up a best practice Facebook, Instagram funnel. So, and it's literally what we do. It's what people selling courses for thousands of dollars, and it's just there, and it's all the tools are there, and you can just take it and do it. So
yeah, that's what I do. That's what I do is like I get resources and put them over there to my clients. Say, guys, just got it.
At that level, at that $1,000 a month level, that's where you're kind of like, right now I've got a store and a brand and a website, and I've got a Facebook page. And then we talk about customer replication, which is all the way up to, that's from $1,000 a month to $10,000 a month. And there we just talk about looking for your one hero video, the entire focus. And so the channel is usually Facebook, but it doesn't have to be. 95% of the time for us, it's Facebook. And it's just one video like that. It's not about worrying about Klaviyo yet. It's not about tinkering with some weird wholesale app. It's not about the middle of funnel, blog video. It's just one good video that articulates your customer's pain point, paints the vision of them after they've accepted your product, has got some customer testimonials in it, whatever. We've got a bunch of content archetypes that people can utilize in those trainings. But yeah, that's what it becomes all about. So that once from that $1,000 to $10,000 mark, get the foundation set up, and then just one video. You just need one good marketing video that's breaking even or making a little bit of money. And then from there, we talk about e-commerce optimization, and that's what will take you to 100K a month. So that's when you're going, all right, how do I build a better landing page? What do I do in the middle of funnel and bottom of funnel to expand that and get more customers there? How do I optimize for conversion? How do I optimize for average order value? How do I optimize for return customer rate? And then our methodology is, because we live in New Zealand, you get to 100K a month, that's pretty big. We don't really try and take businesses to $10 million here. Then we go from customer replication, we go into market replication. So then we take the brand and we scale it globally. So then we go into UK. So we take that same offer that's working here, because we've got the global logistics network, we'll put stock in our warehouse in Utah, and we'll test the UK, Canada, Europe, etc. Taxes and duties paid. We make it look as if we're shipping from within the country, and then whichever country generates a positive ROI, we put stock in that market, and then we sell there. So we never put stock in a market where we haven't already identified that we're going to make good money there. And then that way you can get better leverage on your capital as well. So you only put stock in the places where it's going to return the most net margin. And then we talk about world domination, which
I was like, whoa.
world domination is at your $10 million a month mark. And I'd share my screen, but there you're getting into, we've got like a 42-point checklist, which goes all the way from strategy into QA and new product development, customer insights, IT, hardware, health and safety compliance, annual budgets, purchase order management, every item required to build a 9-figure multinational big corporate business. So that's kind of like the journey that they're taking. But for those guys in that 1 to 10K mark, honestly, if you're validated, if you've got a product with a few customers, just one video. It's all you need. You need to make one really fucking good marketing video. So make one, and if it doesn't work, make another one. And if it works a little bit better, try and figure out why it worked a little bit better. And then just over and over again. And that is the 20 that will deliver the 80 for you.
So did you say you're building a course around this?
Yeah, with Visualize Value. So with Jack Butcher. And it's going to be absolutely amazing. It's going to be really cool.
Got it.
It's not going to be crazy expensive too. Just like, a few $100s kind of thing. And we'll give away a lot of the value on the front end.
No, that's brilliant, because I really deal with a lot of people at the beginnings of their journey, and I love that part. And so, I'm like, oh, you need to go and speak to Simon, but he's a busy guy and he's got a ton of stuff on, so now that I know that resource is there, that's amazing.
One of the things we're going to start doing as well is once we've got a group up and running, is I'm going to be doing like a weekly clinic. So for like an hour and 90 minutes, people can just drop in. And it's funny too, because not a lot of people get, I'm $800 an hour as a consultant.
Yeah, totally.
But you put on like a clinic and like no one comes because it's weird. It's a weird thing, man. But we're going to have this Facebook group. And so people can just come in and be like, hey, I've got this problem. Look at my Shopify store, look at my metrics, help me make money. And then I go, oh, we'll do X, Y, Z.
Right.
So I don't know when that starts, but that'll start pretty soon. And when it does, I'll let you know. And it'd probably be a good place for some of your people to come.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I'm sure I'll see it anyway, because I'm always lurking to see what you're up to. So just to wrap it up and to answer my original question that I've been having for the last 18 months, like how did Simon do that? The pivotal piece for you was the mentorship piece. Do you feel like what was the
so I had a rock bottom moment.
Yep.
That was critical.
Yep.
So you can try and achieve that without actually having that. That's ideal. And then it was rock bottom, sober, mentors, psychedelics. Stay the course.
Rock bottom, mentors, psychedelics. Stay the course. No.
It's funny. I say sober and then I say psychedelics in the same breath, but I actually, it's like medicine. But yeah, drugs and alcohol for me, no liquor, no MDMA, none of that stuff. So it was rock bottom, and then get sober, get a mentor, psychedelics to sort of open and evolve the mind, and then just stay the fucking course.
Yeah.
Just keep going. Doesn't matter. I've had so many ups and downs, but just, I don't care. Might take 10 years, might take 3. Who cares? I'm going to be here, stay in the course.
Well, that's it, and I'm looking at Simon like, I'm the same as Simon. I'm exactly the same. I've got the same drive, I've got different circumstances. It's taking me longer, but that's okay,
That's fine. And dude, luck, man.
Yeah.
Dude, like, if we don't get 1 or 2 of the clients that we got, if I go to a different logistics meeting and not meet Brad, I'm super blessed to have been on this rocket path journey. And it is not, like I said, it is not in no way, shape or form all Simon or Simo.
Yeah.
But that's in the same breath, probably one of my strengths is the ability to bring people in on a journey.
Yes.
Is
Yeah.
to sell them the dream, sell them the vision, and be like, let's go do this together.
Yeah.
And so if you can do that, that's probably actually another piece is rock bottom, sober, mentor, psychedelics, stay the course, network. And network might come earlier.
Yeah, and even just to,
Network
there's going to be something there that enables you to have that mentorship arrangement, that they go, this
But
guy.
the way I've always managed my mentor relationships is well, I mean, I've only had a couple, but deliver more value, try always to deliver more value than they're delivering. And if you're taking the advice, fucking take it. Like, no second guess. And I had that experience with Brad where we got to this point where he's like, you said, I make the final call. And then every time I'm like, we should do this, you argue with me for fucking days. Stop it. I'm like, you're right. Actually, I'm trusting here. So I'm baked in. I'm gonna do it. And like I'm this, and I'll stop if it stops again. My life's crumbling. I will stop. But for right now, I'm committed to this path. And then if you can, finding mentors organically and trying to deliver more value. So like when Brad says jump, I say how high. It's never too late. It's never too early. It's like, oh, I've got a haircut, but that's the only time you can move the meeting, or haircut can fuck off. I'm there. Yep. So that's another thing that I've done is always, if I'm getting value and I need this person, I make it very clear that you basically own me. Because I need some shit from you. And what do you need from me? And you can have it whenever you want it.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Let's wrap it up there, because I think that that's secret, just providing value for people. There are other resources out there that are not anything to do with cash, and there are always ways to find that way forwards, and there are people willing to help if you're willing to meet them, where they're willing to meet you at.
Absolutely. There is a relationship out there for everyone where you can deliver mutual value without cash and both get where you want to go faster.
Yeah.
So
exactly. Cool. Anything else that you want to add in there, throw in there?
No, thank you. Really grateful for the opportunity to share my story. I'm really proud of you and what you're doing and how many people you're helping. It's really cool.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm sure you're gonna fucking kill it.
Watch this space.
And watch this space. And for anyone else out there listening, you can I'm on Instagram, Simon John.
We'll put links. We'll link up.
Ecom Simo on Twitter. You can follow me. I'm going to start doing some tweeting. So yeah, that's it. I'm all good. Thank you for your time.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. And enjoy the rest of your day, Simo.
It's all good. See you later.
All right. See ya.
Bye.